Safer, who's a former federal prosecutor. Ron, I want to break this down for folks that are maybe a little confused because it can get a little complicated. Because what this means is that the Supreme Court is sort of giving the rights back to the states. Break it down for us if you can.
That is exactly right, and it's important to understand what the Supreme Court does and doesn't do. The Supreme Court doesn't declare what is legal or illegal. What it does is it measures laws against the Constitution. So what Roe did was it struck down a state law that said that abortion was a crime. The Supreme Court said that was unconstitutional. And now, today, the Supreme Court overruled that. The basis of overruling it is critically important. And it is why when the governor says that Roe v. Wade is still the law in Illinois, he's not correct. It's not the law anywhere. But states have control, just as you say. The Supreme Court has said that a law striking down that makes abortion a crime is not unconstitutional. The Constitution permits it. Remember, the Bill of Rights is a constraint, a restriction on what the government can do to the people. And the court interprets that. And today the court said, look, abortion's nowhere in the Constitution. The Constitution doesn't protect that right. But what is critical is to look at what the basis of Roe was. The basis of Roe was a case called Griswold. Griswold struck down a Connecticut law that made it a crime to use birth control. And Griswold, for the first time, the Supreme Court said, the First Amendment doesn't explicitly say this, but on its outskirts, on its penumbra, the word that they used, is the right to privacy. That is, the government can't come into our home and say it's illegal to use birth control. That was the basis of Roe. Today, the Supreme Court reversed that basis. And so when the governor says privacy is at risk, he is right.
Ron, I want to ask you this. The governor also said that this is going to cause a dangerous spiral that will erode our democracy. Do you anticipate, I see you smile there, but what do you make of that?
Well, that's politics, right? This will have profound impact. In other words, when the Supreme Court says that there is no right to privacy, because the First Amendment doesn't explicitly say that, well, the right to privacy protected states from making it a crime to use birth control, making it a crime for men to have consensual sex. Those cases are at risk. Now states could pass laws, and this Supreme Court has said they would be constitutional, that would ban or make it illegal to use birth control, that would make it illegal for men to have consensual sex with another man. And now, when the governor says that would implicate rights in the workplace or gay marriage, he's wrong, because that finds its basis in a different amendment, that is the 14th Amendment, which specifically protects equal protection. That is not affected by the Roe decision.
Ron, one more thing I want to point out, because we talk about giving the power back to the states. The states also have the power to give an exception or not to make an exception for rape or incest, correct? Now, they have the power to do that, right?
Absolutely. Today's decision says that a state can say that if you are raped, if you are the victim of incest at 12, you must carry that baby to term. The state has the power to do that, can do it, And it would be, and the state has the power to make it a crime for that 12-year-old to seek an abortion, and a crime to have a doctor administer that abortion. That's what today's ruling said.
Ron, let's talk about, and I know this is maybe hard to answer, but how quickly, if a state chooses to enforce stricter laws, how quickly can they make that happen?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
So this is...
States have already passed these laws. And the question is whether or not they are constitutional, whether they can withstand. The Supreme Court answered that question today. Tomorrow, somebody could be prosecuted in a state that has made it illegal to perform an abortion. Somebody could be prosecuted, thrown in jail for performing an abortion. This, it's a profound decision.
Now, Ron,
that has immediate impact.
Let me ask you this. If somebody, for example, and I'm just giving hypotheticals here, crosses the border to a state where it is not illegal, but they are a resident of a state where it is illegal, can they be prosecuted?
No. It is the act of performing the abortion or seeking the abortion where you are. So that is why people have said that Illinois has to prepare for an influx of people who will seek abortion. But here's the problem. The real world problem with that is people who have means will be able to do that. People who have means have always been able to get an abortion for all times, with medical professionals.
Ron,
it is people without means who cannot do that.
Ron, thank you so much for your insight and your time this morning.
My pleasure.
Hey, if you like that video, be sure to subscribe to our ABC7 Chicago YouTube channel.